How you doing, guys? Professor EDC with another BLADE-OSOPHY Sunday, and today is a day after Teacher's Day here in Mexico. I don't know when it is in the States, I don't recall, but here in Mexico it was yesterday. And as a true teacher, as a professor, I'm not only by, just the name of my YouTube channel. I am a teacher, I am a professor. I have been so for more than 20 years. I would say for 23, 24 years is my teaching experience. So, I came across an old writing. I have plenty of notebooks and loose papers with different quotes and writings from different masters, from different wise people, mixed all over my house. As I have, I've enjoyed reading from different spiritual paths and philosophies since I was very young, and I started writing also when I was very young, and came across this. I don't know how old it is, and I wrote it when I was a teacher, when I was becoming a teacher, I should suppose. And the phrase, I really, it hit a home run. And I'd like to share it with you. The phrase says, "And the teacher cut through ignorance like a fine blade through silk." And man, I freaking love that phrase, and it is so accurate. I think, I believe teachers are the architects of society. Yes, that's serious. I also believe that our profession is one of those that is least valued, and because of that, it is one of those professions that has some of the worst wages, at least here in my country. I have known teachers who, to get to their classroom in rural areas, they had to walk 2 hours. I've known teachers that were also in rural areas that just went once a week and left homework for the whole week, and that's all they did for teaching. I know teachers of teachers. I became one, and I know there are fantastic teachers. And I know that nowadays we are even less valued than before. I know we are being confronted and pressured by different instances. The school system, the principals, the regional coordinators, the owners of the schools, because here in Mexico, we education it's a competition between public schools, which in most cases really suck, and private schools. And then private schools, a lot of them have become business centers, not schools. And so they treat children and their parents like clients, and that's a big mistake. We are not salespersons or salespeople. We are teachers. And our job is to teach, not to sell mathematics to a student or to sell behavior to a parent. I have confronted many parents in the past and arguing precisely this point, with the parents even saying the phrase, the client is always right. That may be so in JCPenney or Sears or in a business like that, I have responded, but not in a school and not in my classroom. In my classroom, I am the holder of knowledge. And as a holder of knowledge, I am trying to pass that knowledge on to your children. And I can see how hard it has become for my fellow teachers to do that when so many schools treat children and their parents like clients, because of course they are spending money. But the trust is no longer there, and what is prevailing is the egos of the parents, the interests of schools who teach, who do not teach but are interested in the money of parents, and teachers who have to shut up and do as they are told if they want to keep their jobs. As bad as that. And then I come to this phrase again, and the teacher cut through ignorance like a fine blade through silk. That's what we do. And I've known bad teachers, yes, but I've known a whole bunch of great teachers that did exactly that. Cut through ignorance, cut through the ignorance of the children, cut through the ignorance of their principals, cut through the ignorance of the school owners, and cut through the ignorance of semi-parents. Why? Because we have an obligation, because we have a responsibility towards ourselves and towards the children. We hold knowledge, we hold experience, we develop a sensitivity towards the children and a protective instinct of preparedness. We do not overprotect the children, but instead we look to their weaknesses. We learn to find their weaknesses and we try to strengthen them in different ways. Mathematics are excuses. English, history, yeah, they're part of the curriculum, but they are also excuses to strengthen the psychology, the mental health, the spirit of a child. At least that's what many of my fellow teachers do. Now, I'm a Montessori guide, and I know Montessori guides are trained to do that. But I also know a fair amount of teachers, not being Montessori, who also tried their best to do that. A few times, a few mothers mentioned confronting me talking about responsibility of their children because they did something wrong and they didn't want to assume the responsibility. And they went against me by saying, how could you know if you do not have children? That's where I responded, that's where you're wrong, ma'am. I have from 25 to 50 children every day, full time, and I have to care and watch out for every single one of them, even at my breaks. Not like you, who barely spend an hour or two with your children. So that excuse of a teacher not having children of his own or her own, that's just BS. That's just BS, because parents nowadays, because of any circumstance, they have to work or they're single parents or whatever. But the thing is, we should be working together. You should be trusting your teachers, at least getting to know your teachers so that you can trust her or him and work together as a single unit. And please evade. Don't take your children to these shitty schools who take children and their parents as clients, because I have seen what they do, and they create monsters in children, little tyrants who deserve everything. And when life strikes, and it does every single time, they do not have the strength to get up and continue. I have seen many cases, very dramatic cases of this. And that is not teaching. And that is venom and poison for society, for each one of your families, and for children. And it's not all to blame. It's not to blame on the teacher, because, like I've said, they are trapped between the boss, who might be the coordinator, and the coordinator who is also stuck between another person, as well as the owners of a school. And we have to follow orders in case we want to keep our jobs. And therefore, teaching dies. And this wonderful, really wonderful profession becomes something else. And we may become salespeople rather than the honorable profession of teachers. That's the world we are living. But then again, get close to your teachers. Talk to them instead of the owners who are interested in money. Agree on something with the teachers. And in that sense, if the teacher and the parent are both trying to do what's best for the child, then the greedy owners will have to do what both parent or teacher are deciding. Why? Because the owner follows the rule of the client is always right. But don't take teachers as enemies. We are there against many odds because we love what we are doing. because we love cutting through ignorance like a fine blade through silk. A blade which is the will of consciousness, of knowing or getting to know the weakness or weaknesses of a child, of a family, and trying to help him or her overcome that weakness and trying to help them develop other tools that will help them in the near future, in the present and future. That's what we do. And it is sad to see what's happening in schools. I don't know if that's the case in the US, but it is very much the case here in Mexico, and it saddens me very much and it angers me very much. So anyways, and the teacher cut through ignorance like a fine blade through silk. Hope you enjoyed it and hope you have a wonderful week. Professor EDC out.